Hello everyone, welcome to the Del City Bus Driver and Aide Training. This training is designed to prepare school bus drivers and aides for the critical role they play in student safety. Here we're going to cover topics such as safe driving, student behavior management, emergency procedures, and what we here at Del City expect from you. By the end of the session, you will have the knowledge and tools necessary to ensure a safe and efficient transportation experience for all students. We encourage you to take notes and please hold all questions until the end. As school bus professionals, you are responsible for more than just driving or assisting on the bus. You are a key part of every student's school day. Your dedication to safety, awareness, and professionalism makes a lasting impact on the children and the families of our community. Beyond safety and professionalism, your attitude plays a crucial role in shaping each student's experience. A positive, patient, and respectful demeanor can set the tone for a child's entire day, making the bus ride not just a routine trip, but a safe and welcoming environment. How you interact with students, parents, and colleagues can influence behavior, build trust, and create a culture of respect and responsibility on board. Here are some positive attitude tips for drivers and aides. Students with disabilities may require additional time for boarding or adjusting to their environment. A patient attitude is essential to ensure they feel comfortable and safe. Be prepared for varied behaviors and needs, such as communication challenges, mobility assistance, or sensory sensitivities. Always respond calmly and with understanding. Treat each student with dignity and respect, understanding that their needs and experiences may be different from others. Be compassionate, especially if a student becomes frustrated or anxious. Always be attentive to nonverbal cues and emotions, which may indicate discomfort or distress. A lot of times, incidents happen on the bus when our drivers and aides are not paying attention to those cues. Please always make sure you guys pay attention to our students. Drivers should always allow 15 minutes prior to their AM route to complete a thorough pre-trip inspection. Make sure you have everything you need and ensure all safety equipment, such as seatbelts, car seats, and harnesses, are working properly before starting your route. Some students may require special accommodations or adjustments to the regular routine, such as extra time for loading and unloading. Be flexible and adaptive to meet their specific needs. Remain open to feedback from parents, aides, or school staff on how to best support the student, and when given this info, please relay it to the office staff. A lot of times people get frustrated with the 3-minute calls for students who don't come out on time, or if they take a few minutes longer in the afternoon coming out of school. We have to remember that each student has their own set of accommodations that they may need for those extra time. So please be flexible and always reach out to office staff if you have a concern. Make sure you guys take a deep breath. Some situations may arise where students with disabilities may require extra attention, whether it's managing a medical emergency, providing physical assistance, or de-escalating a challenging situation. Having confidence in your ability to handle these circumstances is vital. We want to make sure that our drivers and aides are avoiding alcohol and drugs. Be free from the effects of alcohol, illegal drugs, and medications, both prescription and over-the-counter. Being free from them will ensure that the driver is able to transport students and react to situations appropriately. Be vigilant about potential behavior issues, especially if a student experiences frustration, anxiety, or overstimulation. Use positive reinforcement for good behavior and calmly redirect any inappropriate behavior. It's essential to stay calm and composed if a situation escalates. Always approach students with respect and avoid using force unless it's for their safety. Remember to ask questions if you're unsure about something. Asking questions will help school bus drivers be successful. For example, if drivers or aides aren't sure about the proper procedure for putting a car seat in the bus, they should reach out to the office and have someone walk them through the procedure the proper way. This way, they'll be confident in putting one in the future. Student management. As a bus driver, your primary responsibility is to operate the bus safely. However, this can be difficult if you're distracted by student behavior issues. Establishing clear expectations for student conduct helps you stay focused on driving while ensuring students are kept safe. Additionally, if there is an aide on the bus, it is essential that they are effectively managing the students to support a smooth and secure ride. When working with students with special needs, the policies may align with those for other students, such as general behavior expectations. However, students with special needs may have different abilities than their peers. Your approach to interacting with these students should be personalized based on their individual capabilities, including how to manage discipline, assist with loading and unloading, respond in emergencies, handling weather-related issues, and communicate effectively with caregivers. Part of being in charge means you need to be the example at all times. Model behavior involves how you interact with everyone when in the presence of students, fellow drivers, parents, teachers, and office staff. As bus drivers and aides, we want to make sure that you guys know your students and what they need. Understanding your students and their special needs is the first step to providing secure transport for them and best serve their needs. This will involve reviewing your schedules, making sure you have the most up-to-date schedule, and really paying attention to your students. Always ask questions when you aren't 100% sure. We do send out a lot of schedules and calendars on a daily basis. It is your responsibility as the driver to make sure you have the correct schedule, correct calendars for each school, and the correct student when boarding and using specific equipment. Informational needs to be documented and available, especially for substitute drivers to use. Important information such as the route, seating plan, emergency information, student needs, and what they are used to. It is very important that drivers report to their office their daily routine and route when they call out so that the sub-driver is aware to follow everything step by step. Children with disabilities are very routine, and any change can throw their entire day off. They could be used to going a certain way, and if the sub-driver is unaware and tries a new way, the student could become frantic and have a hard time calming down, which in turn could cause a hard time for the sub-driver. It is important that students remain seated at all times. It's not safe for students to move around while the bus is in motion or even while waiting at the school. A lot of times, students like to unbuckle when they're in the bus line, but it's very vital that we keep them seated and buckled at all times because a lot of times the incidents occur while waiting in the bus line. There should be no eating or drinking allowed on the bus. Make sure all students keep their hands and feet to themselves and take all belongings before they go. I included a quote that I found it very helpful, and it goes like this. One way that I deal with distracting student behavior is to follow the 3 F's: friendly, firm, and fair. By talking to students and not at them, I earn their respect more easily. Being friendly with my students and taking an interest in them also helps to reduce any distracting behavior. Driver expectations. Del City school bus drivers are responsible for all things with their bus, such as conducting a pre-trip inspection of the school bus, which includes walking around the bus to make sure everything looks normal both on the inside and outside of the bus. You also want to make sure that you have all required equipment for your particular route, such as a harness vest, seatbelt lock, car seats, high back boosters, or flat bottom boosters. Safely driving the school bus, making sure everything is working properly prior to your route, and report any equipment problems to your office staff. Call Joe or Larry for any maintenance needed, such as an oil change, engine light, flat tire, any accidents, or bodily fluid in the bus. Report any issues with the bus to Joe or Larry. Make sure your bus has a full tank of gas prior to the start of your route, and you all should have a Wawa gas card. Make sure your bus is clean and take it to the car wash at least once a week. This is the driver's responsibility, and you do get paid for it. Delaware City Bus Company school bus evacuations procedures. These are done twice a year. It is best to get this done right away as there is a deadline for fall and spring, and this is mandatory by each county. Prior to the evacuation, all bus evacuations are conducted on school property at the morning drop-off unless school officials advise us otherwise. Bus evacs are to be done by the AM drivers and aides only. The only time a PM driver will have to conduct an evac drill is if we only transport that route in the PM. AM drivers will receive bus evacuation forms in the mail directly from the office. Prior to the bus evacuation, determine where the safest location is to direct the students to move to. It must be at least 10 feet from the bus, but further if suggested. Some ideas include stop signs, trees, a fire hydrant, or a particular corner. Students should not have to cross the street at all. You could also ask the school where they typically hold the bus evacuations, as most schools do this twice a year and have a predetermined location. Schedule a day with a school official to perform the evacuation. The school may have to do it the day you ask. Sometimes you will have to schedule with someone to meet you outside at a specific day or time. If you have any trouble with this, especially if no one is outside when you drop off the students, please call our office and we will schedule it for you. Review with the students what will be happening ahead of time. Explain to them where the safe spot is and that they will exit the bus and calmly walk to the specified location and wait for you. Tell them to leave their backpack on the bus and they will come back for it. You will tell them, tomorrow we will be having a practice bus evacuation. You will say, we need to evacuate the bus, walk together to our safe spot. Leave your backpacks on the bus, we will come back for them. You will stay there until I tell you it is okay to return to the bus. If you have a bus aide, the aide should open the door and ensure all children are off the bus and walk with them. Remind them to walk. On day of the evacuation, the driver will turn off the engine, turn on the hazard lights, issue orders to the students, we need to evacuate the bus, and walk to our safe spot. Take the keys and fire extinguisher, which you can just let the person know that you would take it. You don't have to actually take it. Walk to the right side of the bus and assist with opening the door if students haven't already done so. View inside the bus to make sure no one is left behind. It is okay to leave the sliding door open. Simulate asking for help. Walk to where the students are waiting. You should let the observing school official know the distance, which is a minimum of 10 feet from the bus, but preferably further, and location of the safe spot if it's a location you have determined yourself. Let the official know that students will remain with the driver and aide until it is determined that it is safe to go back to the bus. In the event of a true emergency, if a driver or aide is incapacitated, another person in authority can make the determination that no danger remains. We will now conduct a practice emergency drill. Conducting a pre-trip inspection. Before you start your route or any trip, conduct a thorough pre-trip inspection as required by law. Arrive early to make sure you have enough time to conduct a complete pre-trip inspection. A pre-trip inspection requires examining both the interior and exterior of the bus. In addition to the pre-trip inspection of your bus, to ensure it is in good working order, you should always do these things prior to heading out for your route. Conduct your personal readiness check. Have I left my personal problems at home? Am I mentally and physically alert? Am I ready to greet the job and the students with a smile and even temperament? Do I need to take a deep breath because I could be running late? Check road and weather conditions. While the district will check road and weather conditions, as well as the office staff, checking impending weather conditions yourself can be informative. Always communicate with the office if the weather is negatively impacting your duties, such as a frozen door that will not open for you. Plan for the unexpected. You should always anticipate that despite your best preparations, something could go wrong. Be mentally prepared that something could go wrong and stay focused on driving the school bus. Remember, you're not in your vehicle. A school bus handles and responds very differently than a car. You have to apply different driving rules and follow different safety precautions when you're in a school bus. Save a trip. Always check your bus when the route is finished. You should be checking for problems with the bus, damage or vandalism within the interior or exterior from students or while driving, articles left on the bus, check for students left on the bus, and report any equipment issues to office staff and make sure everything is working properly prior to your next route. We want to make sure your bus is always ready. At this time, you want to make sure that it's properly fueled. All of the students' personal belongings are off the bus. The bus has been taken to the car wash at least once a week. If it is dirtied more than that and you need to go more than once a week, that is okay. Also, make sure your oil change is up to date. We've had drivers go 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles over on their oil change. This is really bad for the buses and unsafe as issues can arise while driving, especially with students on board. Please make sure you stay on top of this and call Joe and Larry to schedule an appointment. Maintaining control of student behavior. To be successful at maintaining control of students' behavior, you first have to know what students need. And just like adults, students need respect, recognition, to feel in control of their circumstances, to associate with their peers, and to feel important to their peers. Although there is no one way to maintain control of student behavior, there are several strategies you can use that have proven to be effective in managing student behavior. Know your students' names, be consistent, talk one-on-one, smile, be friendly, firm, and fair, always be professional, and discipline students appropriately. Some strategies that do not work are as follows: screaming and yelling, disciplining in front of all students, being grumpy, threatening students, ignoring students, and putting your hands on students. It is important to realize that how you interact with your students will set the stage for how they behave on the bus. Incident reports. An incident report link will be sent out to each and every one of you individually. Incident reports are to report any incident that happens on your bus immediately after it happens. Please do not wait until the end of the day or the next day to complete these. Incidents are anything as to a student not wanting to keep the seatbelt on, a student kicking or antagonizing another student, a student simply not following orders after being told multiple times to do something. These are all incidents that should be reported on this link. Everything needs to be documented. It is very important to be thorough in each report and to put as much detail as possible so that we have it all documented correctly. If there is ever a more serious, uncontrollable incident happening, please call the office immediately prior to filling out the incident report. I will now show you what the incident report looks like. What to do in an emergency situation. This form should have been handed out at the beginning of this training. For an accident, you would pull over to a safe location and put the vehicle in park and turn on your hazard lights. If a student is on board or if anyone is hurt, call 911 immediately. Then call the Del City office. Provide a clear, calm explanation of what is happening. Follow the instructions provided by the office. You'll also be instructed to contact Larry or Joe once all information is received by the office. Wait patiently for further instruction. Keep your phone charged and accessible at all times. The office will report all accidents to the contracted counties, parents, schools, etc. Please remain available for follow-up questions as necessary. Student incidents. If safe to continue on the route, please do so and report any incident to the office once all students have left the bus. If a situation becomes unsafe, find the safest location to pull over and place the bus in park. Turn on your hazard lights. Do not leave school property if possible and flag down a school attendant for assistance. Lock the windows and doors. Contact the Del City office immediately. Provide a clear, calm explanation of what is happening. Provide your location and landmarks around you. Follow the instructions provided by the office. Wait patiently for further instruction. Keep your phone charged, accessible, and never leave a vehicle or student unattended. For a broken down bus, if a student is on board, immediately call the office for assistance. If a student is not on board, please contact Larry or Joe directly to immediately assist. Then contact the office. Then provide a clear, calm explanation of what is happening. Provide your location and landmarks around you. Follow the instructions provided. Keep your phone charged and accessible, and never leave your vehicle or student unattended. Approaching and stopping at the bus stop. Loading and unloading is the most dangerous time for a school bus driver and students and presents the highest liability for school districts. Your job is to make sure this happens safely. As you approach a school bus stop, several actions should be taken to safeguard students. First, as you approach the bus stop, reduce your speed and approach cautiously. Look for pedestrians, traffic, or other objects before, during, and after coming to a stop, continuously checking all mirrors. Next, bring the school bus to a full stop with the front bumper at least 10 feet away from the student at the designated stop. This forces the student to walk to the bus so you have a better view of their movements. After you've stopped, Place the transmission in park. Next, conduct a final check to ensure that all traffic has stopped before completely opening the door and signaling students to approach. Lastly, make sure that all students board on the passenger side door. The driver's side door is not to be used unless it is a one-way street and you get prior approval from the office. Getting off the bus. Just as with getting on the school bus, students need to follow certain safety precautions when getting off the bus. Students must stay connected to their harness, seatbelts, car seats, and/or seatbelt locks until instructed to otherwise. Remain seated until told to exit. Stay seated and buckled until the bus door opens for them to be dismissed, and make sure they have all their belongings before getting off. The driver must always position yourself to supervise unloading as required or recommended by your state or local regulations. Having students exit in an orderly fashion and observing students as they step from the bus to see that they promptly move away from the unloading area. Aids, you make sure you open and close the door, unbuckle or unhook students, assist students off the bus, help students remember to take all their belongings. Also, as the driver, if you ever need to get out of the bus, please remember these steps. Call the office prior to doing so. Turn the ignition off and remove the key. Never open the driver's side door if there is oncoming traffic. Now, this is only if there are still students on board. Railroad crossing procedures. In order to ensure the safety of the driver and the children on board, it is important to know that if a new route leads you to a railroad crossing, you should stop and tell your supervisor. A railroad crossing or crossbuck warning sign means the same as a yield sign. A train always has the right of way. You must stop at least 15 feet, but no more than 50 feet from the tracks. You should always expect the train and never try to beat one. Obeying crossing signals is a must. If multiple sets of tracks exist, then multiple trains could be approaching. Only cross the tracks if there is enough room on the other side to be completely off the tracks, at least 15 feet between the tracks and the back of the bus. What not to do at a crossing when you come to a railroad. Never stop on the tracks, never step closer than 15 feet, and never try to back up once you're already on the tracks. Never change gears or pass while on the tracks, and never cross unless there's enough room on the other side to completely be off of them. Advanced warning signs. Here are some signs to look out for when approaching a railroad. The first one is, do not stop on tracks. This sign is to make sure that the front or rear of the bus is at least 15 feet from the tracks. In the middle, we have a round yellow advanced warning sign. This is to remind the driver to slow down, look and listen for a train, and be prepared to stop if a train is coming. Here on the top right, we have an exempt sign. That is to alert you that the driver that the crossing has been abandoned or it is no longer in use and is discontinued. The bottom left, we have a railroad crossing with 2 tracks. Multiple track signs are for when there is more than one set of tracks at a crossing. Watch for additional trains coming from either direction. Bottom middle is the parallel track sign. That is to warn a driver who is making a turn that there is a highway rail crossing immediately after the turn. Bottom right is the pavement markings, and this means the same as the advanced warning sign. The front of the school bus must remain behind the line while stopped at the crossing. You may move up to look or hear for a train if there are trees and bushes in the way. This concludes the Del City Driver and Aid training. And as always, drive slow, stay safe, and thank you for all you do.